Welcome back to the mini challenge. We are here at Zandvoort. It's the second race of the weekend, and it's a bit of a thriller in the Cooper class. This, the battle for the lead of the class. Ollie Walker, Ricky Page and Hamish Brandon. Ricky Page again outbreaks himself, so it's Ollie Walker who assumes the lead. Hamish Brandon goes second as Ricky Page looks to gather himself up, and they've all been caught with a bright yellow car of Wet as well of Josh Gollin. So the leading quartet now in the Cooper class all doing battle. It's Chris Smiley who leads the race overall and the JCW class. He is pulling well clear on this rapidly drying circuit with the drivers in a mixture of wet and slick tyres. Those, like I suspect Josh Gollin, who gambled with slicks at the start, will really find the tyres coming towards them as Hamish Brandon looking to pick his way past Ollie Walker, and that wasn't malice from Walker, that was just trying to move across to cool down wet tyres. Hamish Brandon so possibly trying to cool down his wets. Josh Gollin, though, you can see emphatically on the slicks, that's where he's finding all the grip, and he moves round Hamish Brandon into second position on the brakes into Tarzan. Legendary manoeuvre that, and one has been much repeated throughout motorsport history. You can see possibly Ollie Walker's tyres just overheating as into Hugenholtz, and into the lead of the Cooper class goes Josh Gollin, who then flicks it sideways, gets caught out possibly by the greasy surface. Hamish Brandon also looking to take the opportunity to pick his way past Ollie Walker as Jake Packard and Luke Cordell continue to do battle. And when we left them, this was the fight for 4th and 5th position again. Suspect they may well be on slicks as opposed to wets. In the meantime, though, Josh Gollin on those slick tyres pulling clear and leading the Cooper class, being aided and abetted somewhat by the fact that Ollie Walker is offering a very, very stout defence here to Hamish Brandon. Luke Cordell looking to try and make the move on Jake Packard into Tarzan, and yeah, that would strongly suggest that he is on slick tyres because he came out of the slipstream and then had to get back onto the dry section of the circuit for Tarzan. So it's still Packard who holds the place from Luke Cordell as they jink their way through Bot and on towards Hugenholtz. Tight left-hand hairpin before they then get the opportunity to stretch their right foot again, because this Zandvoort circuit really offers the perfect blend. Very high-speed sequences, but also some quite tight and tricky corners. And Hamish Brandon now has found a way past Ollie Walker. So Hamish Brandon on the brakes into the Audi S has gone second in the Cooper class. Ollie Walker slips down into third. Now let's see whether or not Walker can hold on to that third position. Well, he's got Ricky Page in behind him, but Ricky Page, I suspect, is suffering from exactly the same problem as Ollie Walker. As Shane Stoney gains ground, he's moved clear of Grace Williams, also past Adrian Norman. So Shane Stoney, who we saw pitting for a tyre change right at the start of the race, which we hypothesised was probably from wets to slicks, and that has paid off exactly as Shane Stoney would have hoped that it would have done. Meanwhile, the increasingly frenetic battle between Jake Packard and Luke Cordell continues. Fight for third in the Cooper class equally tight as Ricky Page thinking about lining up the move. Luke Cordell trying to pressurise the mistake from Jake Packard, which now happens in the Audi S, and this could be Cordell's opening as he draws alongside Packard on the exit, who moves across him. A little bit of contact there, and Luke Cordell might not be overly impressed by that. Packard would say that he was recovering but wasn't in full control of the car. I think Luke Cordell rather would suggest that Packard knew precisely where Luke Cordell was and exactly what he needed to do. So for the time being, Jake Packard is clear of Luke Cordell. All the while, though, they are closing in on Lee Allen, and there is Allen cooling off his tyres. So Lee Allen arguably on wets, Jake Packard and Luke Cordell on slicks, and therefore they're going to be catching Lee Allen at a rate of knots as this race continues. It's going to be frustrating for Lee, who has had really one of those seasons this year in 2013. The outright pace that we've seen the past 2 years just hasn't quite been there for Lee, and although he's gone very well at his home races, Brands Hatch, particularly the Mini Festival, other times it's been a little bit disappointing. In the meantime, Ricky Page trying to find a way past Ollie Walker. Walker, though, is able to extract all the grip he possibly can for his wet tyres, so he's doing a pretty good job of keeping Ricky Page behind him at the moment as the pair of them work their way through this sinuous technical section before they then get to sprint on towards the Audi S, and they are being caught quite rapidly now at the back of the shop by Shane Stoney. So Stoney, the gamble looking like it's going to pay off, given the extent of his championship lead in the Cooper class coming to this weekend. Shane Stoney was able to afford to take that gamble, and now it's really coming towards him. He's got the battle for third position, just a couple of seconds up the road ahead of him, but he's catching that battle very rapidly. The same goes for Jake Packen and Luke Cordle. They are reeling in Lee Allen as Luke Cordle now picks his moment to challenge Jake Packen, and he's going to go through his seat and take the position. A quick consultation of the mirrors, but up into fourth goes Luke Cordle, and Jake Packen could resist him no more. So Cordle goes fourth, and third place could well be his as well by the end of the laps, because he's in pursuit of Lee Allen, who once more just slithers out slightly wide through the Audi S. It's Packen who carries all the momentum, and he's going to challenge around the outside. Lee Allen, all four wheels on the dirt, but Luke Cordle's got the confidence, he's got his right foot in, and more importantly, he's got the inside line for the next corner. Lee Allen, though, loath to concede any position, particularly to Luke Cordle, but he loses two in one bite as a result, so Cordle and Packen surge through. Lee Allen demoted to fifth, and Shane Stoney goes up to third in the Cooper class, so Stoney has got onto the podium. This then is translating the battle for fourth and fifth between Ollie Walker and Ricky Page. The pair have been at each other, hanger and tongs, really all race long. As a result, they've probably used up their tyres a little bit more quickly than they otherwise might have done. Johnny Brown gets waved on by the Accelerate team on the pit wall. There's some of those who maybe went the wrong way with tyres struggle down the main start and finish straight. While though, Chris Smiley, we've not seen much of him, is imperious in command of the race, and we're getting towards last lap time pretty rapidly here. You can see that race clock ticking down, just over 2 minutes remain on it, and they are lapping in fractionally over 2 minutes. It's a lap at the moment as well, between Ollie Walker and Ricky Page. Continuing, still Walker, who is ahead of Page. They're being caught quite quickly now by Adrian Norman, so Adrian Norman is looking to join into this battle as well. So we've got Kevin O'Connor, or rather they've got the race leader Chris Smiley, who's coming to put a lap on them. So Chris Smiley, we've not seen much of him, now he is joining the fray, as Jake Packen and Luke Cordle amongst the traffic as well. It's Grace Williams who they are both able to negotiate. You can see how quickly they've dropped the Allen as well. Their next target is Lawrence Davey. Now, how far up the road is Lawrence? There he is, just flashes through the front of the shot, so he's only a couple of seconds clear of Luke Cordle. If Lawrence Davey is on wet tyres, if they suddenly stop working for him, they are just going to go, and that could be the opening that Luke Cordle is looking for. In the meantime, the fight for fourth in the Cooper class has really been the tightest battle of the race as they head out of the Ari Lowendyke box. They're being caught by Adrian Norman, whose boot has stayed down, as Ricky Page again using the slipstream, trying every which way to pick his way past Ollie Walker. And this may now have swung in favour of Ricky Page. They're being caught as well by Lawrence Davey, and Davey doesn't want to have squabbling cars in front of him, so finally Ricky Page makes the move stick. Lawrence Davey being a little bit caught up in all of that, and you can see that Luke Cordle is looming very large in his mirrors. So Davey picks his way through that group, so that is part of the job done for Lawrence Davey. As around Hugenholtz he heads, Luke Cordle closing in, and Cordle maybe has had the better of the runs through the traffic as they then sprint their way through this very fast section of the circuit. Jake Packen has been a little bit more caught in the traffic, and that's possibly any hope of a podium for Packen that's rather disappeared then. As Chris Smiley about to put a lap onto Shane Stoney, or he would if Stoney had seen him. And now he's able to dive through is Chris Smiley. It's been thus far really a perfect weekend for Smiley, who's been the star of the season. He's quite an unassuming character in what is generally quite a voluble paddock, but Smiley does all his talking on the track. Very, very smooth driver, very consistent, as the last lap board is out. Into the very late stage of the race now, and Chris Smiley just a few corners from home. Ricky Page past Ollie Walker is about to be passed now by Adrian Norman. Chris Smiley though just a few hundred metres remain in the race. It's been an emphatic performance from Smiley, who's mastered the tricky conditions. Ollie Walker and Adrian Norman are going to race themselves all the way through to the checkered flag, which is poised and ready and waiting, because out of the final turn comes Chris Smiley. He sprints along the start and finish straight and takes the win to the light of the team. So it's the double for Chris Smiley. What about battle for second? And it's Cordell who takes it. Delight for Luke Cordell as he celebrates in the cockpit. So he snatches second place from Lawrence Davey on the last lap. Fourth has gone to Jake Packham, with fifth going the way of Lee Allen, who just sees off the efforts of Jono Brown at the line. So delight for Chris Smiley. Really very emphatic performance that from Smiley, eventually winning it by just under 4 seconds. But that winning margin doesn't really quite iterate the dominance from Smiley over the course of the race. Lawrence Davey stuttering to halt on the slowing down lap. As across the line to take the win in the Cooper class, it is Josh Gollin who scores the victory from Hamish Brandon, with Shane Stoney completing the podium. But Josh Gollin making the right call with the tyres. He let the track conditions come to him, he let the race come to him, and he was able to race his way through to claim the win. So the marshals and spectators applauding the drivers as they work their way around on this slowing down lap. So we take a check at the final classification with the win for Chris Smiley, second place Luke Cordell, and third for Lawrence Davey from Jake Packham, Lee Allen and Jono Brown. In terms of the classes then, in the JCW class, it's Chris Smiley from Luke Cordell and Lawrence Davey. And in the Cooper class, Josh Gollin from Hamish Brandon and Shane Stoney. Into Parc Ferme then, and the team congregate around Chris Smiley, handshakes all around, and with very good reason. Their man has done them proud. And generally smiles all around in the Mini Challenge pit lane, because everybody made it through to the flag safely. It was a race that was high on excitement, but fortunately very low in terms of dramas of the accident variety. For Josh Gollin, equally reason to celebrate. That was a really mature and perfectly judged drive from Gollin, and one of those races that he will be using to impress sponsors into the future, saying, look, I know what I'm doing. And Josh Gollin is going to really set himself out as one to watch after that performance. So on to the podium then. Applause from the grid girls. So first of all, in the Cooper class, Shane Stoney, Hamish Brandon and Josh Gollin, they win the 20 litres of Sunoco fuel. And in the race overall, the JCW class, it's Lawrence Davey, Luke Cordell and Chris Smiley. And for Chris Smiley, he wins the entry ticket for the British Touring Car Championship test drive. And there's the end of season draw to decide who will win that. So applause for Chris Smiley as he comes onto the rostrum, celebrates his second victory of the weekend at the Circuit Park Zandvoort. Of course, there is one more race to come, and we'll be able to enjoy that in a few moments' time after the break. For now, though, the driver's able to receive the spoils of victory and celebrate with the champagne on the Zandvoort rostrum.